So, the new BRZ is finally here, but there's still no turbo. Yo, what's up guys, Rextra here, and today we'll be talking all about the BRZ. And let me just say this first. I'm gonna be trying to give the looks a chance, because just look at it. Alright, before we get into this video, I just want to thank you guys for supporting me, and I finally did get over the virus a couple days ago, so I am all good now. I basically had it for I think 8 days. I was sick with the virus, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today we are talking about the new BRZ and 86. They ain't even shown the 86 yet, but you know the 86 is gonna look kind of like the BRZ, but maybe a little bit different. So let's start off by how they introduced the new BRZ. They started off with it going around corners, down mountains, and drifting. That's actually the very first clip when you see the full car in Subaru's video, is it drifting around a corner. So that is actually pretty sick. I'm glad that that's the approach that they went for. The video mainly has a bunch of cornering and drifting in it, which that's exactly what the car is made for. And that's probably why it is not turboed, because they want to stick to the 86 heritage of it being lightweight, rear-wheel drive car, and just fun to drive. Perfect weight distribution still. The weight I think did go up a little bit, but the power has gone up as well. So it is now making 228 horsepower and 184 pounds of torque. So it's a pretty significant bump from previous generation, which previous generation was making 205 horsepower and I think 164 torque. And it has an all new 2.4 liter boxer motor that sits lower to the ground than the BRZ now. So way better lower center of gravity. It's faster, bigger engine. The weightness is pretty close to the previous one as well. So far, spec-wise, it's all looking really good. Apparently the chassis is about 1 inch longer than previous generations, and it's about ½ an inch wider. Apparently the chassis overall is way stiffer for better, more precise handling. So on paper, right now, everything just looks way better. And so far, I am happy with the way it's turning out. But the looks is what everybody is complaining about. No one really knows how to feel about the looks of the car yet. A lot of people are saying it's ugly and it looks like an RX-8 because of how bubbly it is. And the hood, how the hood doesn't really have any definition to it at all. It looks very bland, people are saying. The headlights, in my opinion, do kind of look Porsche-like with certain Porsches. The rear end kind of looks like an Aston Martin, but it also kind of looks like a Civic or a Honda Accord. So there's both ways that people are taking this. The car does look like a lot of different cars combined into one. People are saying the side profile looks like a Lexus RCF. But I think this picture right here, the silver BRZ, looks the best. It's like the best angle of the car. That's the best picture I have found of the looks of it. And I believe that if you lower the car a little bit, which that picture kind of does look lowered compared to the other photos, that it looks way better when it's lowered, and probably when it has wheels and some simple modifications done to it. Me personally, the side fender in the front looks really good. How it curves over, it kind of looks like a wide body in a sense, because the car is wider as well, and they put in those vents in the front bumper and right behind the front of the tire. They have vents right there, and apparently they are functional, and it is for cooling the brakes, which that 1000% is amazing. I am so glad that they have functional vents on it that do something like that, because when I first saw that vent behind that front tire, I was thinking that's gonna be fake, and why would they do that? However, it's to cool the brakes, and that is amazing. It's gonna help with the track performance. It's gonna help with drifting as well. I'm actually thinking about doing a brake cooling modification to my BRZ, because I have side things that I can cut out and then put tubes through to my brake. They actually sell a kit online that you can do that, but we're not talking about my car right now. However, let's talk about the 2020 BRZ compared to the new BRZ. Look-wise, I'll put these photos side by side right now. And to me, I like the 2020 BRZ more than the 2022 BRZ. It just looks way better, in my opinion, more aggressive. I do understand that the other one kind of does have a more Porsche-like look to it, and it is different. They wanted to go for a completely different look, and I do support that. But I don't know exactly how I feel. I think the looks will grow on a lot of people. I just know that the previous BRZ, like the first generation, the 2013 BRZ compared to like the 2018 BRZ, the new front bumper, it looked way better. In the rear end looked way better, like immediately just looked higher quality and more aggressive. And then with going from that to the new 2022 BRZ, it looks just not as aggressive at all and more bland is what a lot of people are going with. But I'm being optimistic and I think it will grow on a lot of people. I think the hood is what's throwing people off the most, because I think the body lines look pretty good to me, but the hood is the one thing that throws me off. A lot of people are saying that it looks like a Tiburon or it looks like an RX-8, which and plenty of other cars where it just doesn't look that good. No offense to all you Tiburon RX-8 owners, but yeah. Apparently a lot of people don't like the looks of that. And then the rear end, we haven't talked about the taillights yet. The taillights, people are saying that it looks like an Aston Martin, which I can see that a lot. But it also does look like a Civic or Honda Accord as well. And so, I don't know, it's just very different from the previous generation. Like, I'll throw up the previous generation right now with it. And the taillights, they do look more modern-esque because it's different. But I still don't know how I feel about the rear end. I think personally, the rear end is just missing something. It's just lacking a little bit in a different department. It looks too much the same as others that I've seen already out there than different. Because the previous generation BRZ, they look different. Nothing else really looks like those taillights. So everything is up in the air still. Is with how I feel about it. I don't really know still. I do believe the front end is growing on me a little bit and I can appreciate it for what it is. Now let's get to the interior. The interior, I personally think I like the modernness that they're taking with it, them updating it, making it a lot newer. However, I still like the old design. I still like how unique the bump was in the middle of the dash, which the old one had. The new one is more just like flat all across the board, and I just don't like that. I like the uniqueness of the older dash. It just made it feel like a different type of sports car. Some of like the older Japanese cars, like you sit in them and it's just so different. Every single one of them is just different and unique in their own way. And I started to feel like that with the BRZ, like the way that everything was set up in the previous generation BRZs. So that's the one department where I really like the 2020 BRZ's interior over the new 2022 BRZ's interior, and that's where you're gonna be sitting at most of the time. It honestly reminds me of like a 2012 Mustang, the interior does, where it's just like a straight line all the way across, which I know a lot. I can probably name a bunch of different vehicles that's just a straight line all the way across, and there's no uniqueness to it like the previous generation BRZs. So in my opinion, I know it's gonna seem a little backwards. People probably think that the front end looks like the worst part about the car, but for me the worst part of the car was the interior. That was the worst part to me. I didn't like the interior, the tachometer and all that. I think it's pretty cool that it's all digital, but it looks kind of plain to me. I don't know if you can modify it and make it look different at all. If you put it in sports mode, maybe it'll change the cluster and make it look more aggressive, but the whole plain black look and white, this doesn't really do it for me. Yeah, I like the seats. Upgraded seats look pretty good. But then again, the 2020 BRZs had pretty good seats in them as well. Even my BRZ, I believe, have pretty good seats in them for what it is. Let's talk about positives and negatives. Positives, basically everything when it comes to specs. When it comes to engine, performance, how they kept the 50-50 weight distribution, lightweight, rear-wheel drive, and all that good stuff. There's a lot of positives right there. And do the positives outweigh the negatives? Of course they do. Negatives is just looks, which a lot of people hate the look of the front end. To me, the front end looks the best compared to the interior and compared to the rear end. I truly believe the front end looks better because of how different it is. Yeah, you can say it looks like a bunch of different type of cars combined into one. I don't know. It's growing on me already, and the front end looks better than the rear end in my opinion. And the interior, I like the older generation interior more as well, so the front end is what has it going for me, and obviously the specs is what has going for me. The 2.4 liter, I'm sure you can boost that thing and it can be way faster than the 2.0 that's already in the previous generation BRZs right now. I believe the car is going to be way better at handling, way better at drifting, way better at a lot of things. Just simple, even like a full exhaust and tune right now. Full exhaust tune on my 2.0 motor on E85 makes around 240, 250 horsepower up to the crank, obviously, not to the wheels. So my BRZ right now is technically faster than the one that's out right now, but obviously once you modify it, put a full exhaust and tune on it in the E85, if I make 240 through 250 on my 2.0 motor, I think the 2.4 motor, you can probably make 250 to 260. Maybe get close to 270s, I'm not too sure, but obviously to the crank, not to the wheels. However, I think if you turbo it, I think you can easily get 400 horsepower to the wheels. Yeah, I think you could on a stock motor, 2.4 liter. It's supposed to be better. The new STI supposedly is going to have 400 horsepower out of the 2.4 liter motor, so it's going to be like the same motor, but obviously it's going to be a little bit different from that STI one, as that one is purpose built to have a turbo on it and the BRZ is not. However, I don't see any reason why you couldn't make 400 horsepower out of the 2.4 liter that's going to be in the BRZ, so that's going to be really great for tuners. So the tuning platform overall I think is going to be really great. Yeah, and like I'm looking at the pictures right now, I'm telling you, the rear end looks more bland to me than the front end. Like the front end is different and it can grow on me. The side vent that it has behind the wheel, everything can grow on me. The side skirts look a little bit wider as well. Everything about it looks, honestly, it does look kind of more aggressive with the aero that they added to it. Obviously the headlights and the hood and the front bumper is what is not doing it for most people. But dude, that rear end, there's nothing there. There's nothing in the rear end at all to me. I think they're going for more of like a WRX STI look for the taillights, to try to make it look more in line with the other BRZ or Subarus, but I'm not too sure. All I have left to say is, what do you guys think about the new BRZs and 86s? Obviously we haven't seen the 86 yet. It's going to look different. Not too different, but the front bumper mainly is going to look different. Maybe the hood might be a little bit different. It could look better than this BRZ. We have no idea still, but I can't wait for that to come out, and I'll be making a video on that when it comes out. And that video will be mainly comparing and contrasting from the GT86, which obviously looks way different than the BRZ's front end currently on the 2020 models. So I'm sure the 2022 model will look pretty different. And yeah, I just don't know what else to say. Let me know what you guys' opinions are. I'm sure a lot of you hate the front end, and I'm sure a lot of you guys love the interior, but for me, it's a little bit flopped. Like, I don't completely love the front end. I believe it can grow on me, but the interior is just not doing it for me. Rear end, not doing it for me. And that's pretty much it. I still love the car. I still think it's a great car, and I'm glad Subaru made it. We are lucky to have it. As you guys know, a new article came out that in 2030, the European, well, yeah, I think it's all of Europe, is going to be banning gas-powered vehicles. So that's pretty crazy. That's in like 9 years from now. That's gonna suck, because the United States obviously is going to have to follow suit with that. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens there with that. And that is going to be it for this video. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.